It's that time of the week again. What's up, Andy?
Well, I'm pretty good, thank you. What's up, Costa Alex?
You can call me Kosa. For people people don't know, but that's my nickname. So if you hear him call me that, just know he's talking to me. Cheers, everybody from Wisconsin. I'm excited to be here for another week of our weekly soccer podcast, which is growing. Baby steps, but it's growing, so we're happy about that. And I hope we can offer you guys another great episode this week. It's still transfer window, so we're gonna talk mainly that. But that's soon gonna be over, and we're gonna go back to our regular before transfer window schedule. So, what's new, Andy?
Wow, there are lots of things that are new, lots of new transfers, and I think we have lots of things to debate on this podcast.
What?
Probably you
Which?
would like to start. I was I could hardly wait to ask you what's your opinion about Alex Sanchez.
Well, as I said, I think I said it in the last podcast too. I'm not unhappy that he signed with United, but I don't really think he's the player that we need. I don't know. That's my opinion. I was never a big fan of his, and maybe that's why I cannot really be objective about it. You know, I've never been a fan of him. I don't really like I don't really like short players. That's why I don't like Messi. I don't like Sanchez. I never had I don't know. I never liked short players because I'm a big guy. I always liked physical players. So I don't know where he can fit in a team where you already have Martial and Rashford, playing similar positions. We also have Lingard, who's having a very good season. Mata, we have Zlatan. We have a lot of attacking power. I don't know where we can fit Alexis Sanchez, but since he got the number 7, I'm pretty sure he's gonna play in the first 11. So I don't know what Mourinho's gonna do, who he's gonna take out, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. My opinion is I don't think he's the player that we needed, and I'm a little bit worried that he might turn into another Di Maria case, and I don't think that's what we need, because we've had Di Maria, we've had Memphis Depay. Our last two number 7s brutally failed at Manchester United. So I don't know if
Well,
Alexis is going to be the one who's going to change that.
at least in the end, Manchester didn't pay a penny for him,
It's
so
yeah,
was a good deal.
that's
I
one
think
of
it
the
was
first
a good
times.
swap.
That's one of the first times when I heard like this thing, the swap thing in soccer, because that's usually something very common in American sports, like American football, basketball, whatnot. That's where they do a lot of swaps. It's not really common in soccer, so I think that's gonna set like a new standard. I think we're gonna see this happen more and more
Uh,
because
just just a short thing, just to make sure everything is fine because sometimes I hear you with a kind of lag. Is everything fine there? Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
the
Yeah,
okay?
sound from you is perfect. Sound from me is perfect too. I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah, yeah. It's all
sorry.
good. No, 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 no.
Just
It's
a
good that
technical
we
thing.
check these things because we don't want to record the whole episode and then we find out there's no sound or something like that. But I can see you have a little bit of a lag because sound gets to you slower, because I see by the way you answer. So we
This is true.
apologize. We apologize about that. For people who are outside of the US and the UK, internet in both of these countries sucks. So this is
So probably, guys, in this podcast, because of the luck, we will talk like the Romanian president.
very, very slow.
Slow.
Oh,
Okay, that was a joke.
okay, so what do you think of Alexis to Manchester? Do you think is he a good transfer for Mourinho? Do you think that's the player that Manchester needed to help them fight Manchester City next year? Because I don't think
No,
anything can
no.
change this year, but
Well,
maybe next year we're gonna have some.
I think it was a game of ambition, and we all know that Mourinho is a very ambitious guy. So he was trying to win the fight with Guardiola, and especially in the end with Conte. We know how much they hate each other, and in the end, I think was a good swap for both clubs because uh, Alexis, sorry, uh, was going to leave. He didn't want to stay anymore to Arsenal. They didn't get any good money for him because he was in the last 6 months. Plus, United, they tried to find a club for Mkhitaryan, who doesn't fit anymore in the United
Squad.
formula.
Yep.
So I think both clubs they are happy with this swap because well, Arsenal they got a good player. It's a 31 million valued player,
That's
um,
it. That's it.
and
That's Mkhitaryan's market value, only 31.
only 31. Yes.
That's crazy, man. With the prices
Well,
today, it's a little bit crazy. He's
well,
he's an
he's a
awesome
player.
player, man. He's an awesome player. He's one of those players that I regret did not manage to give 100% all the time at Manchester United because I think he wanted to. It was just something else happening over there because he had times when he was awesome. He was great. He looked exactly like Mkhitaryan that played at Dortmund, Mkhitaryan that played at Shakhtar, and since Shakhtar was the coach, was the team coached by Mircea Lucescu, we both followed it, so we know how he was playing over there. He was a very good player, and he did the same thing at Dortmund. He had same moments at United, but it was rare. Like in the beginning of this, in the beginning of the current league season, back in August, he had a phenomenal start of the season. He had 5 assists, I think, right?
Uh, I didn't follow him to be
Fi-
honest with you, but I think he
yeah,
had
he
four
he
or
had
five
he
assists.
had 5 assists in like 3 games. So he looked like he was gonna be a phenomenal player this year. But then slowly he started falling out of the first 11, and then soon enough we didn't see him on the bench at all either. So I don't know. I regret that he didn't adapt better at United because he's one of those players that he seemed like a very nice human being. And whenever you see players like this, you want him in your team. Alexis, for me, does not. I think he doesn't have the same character as Mkhitaryan. He doesn't seem as a nice dude as Mkhitaryan. Alexis seems more as a guy that's more interested in making his money and then whatnot. But
Yeah, but if you have to compare these two players, Alexis is playing in more position than Mkhitaryan. So Mourinho can use him either right wing behind the attacker or even in the front.
yeah, I've seen Alexis's first interview as a United player, and he said that as long as he plays, he doesn't care where he plays. I guess we'll have to wait and see about that because usually when players are played out of positions, they're not really happy, and that's the first thing they're gonna blame. And in a way, I'm happy for both of them if it is for me to believe what they said when they signed with their new clubs. With Alexis saying that he always dreamed of playing for Manchester United, and Mkhitaryan saying that Arsenal is his dream club. I don't
uh,
I don't believe those kind of things anymore because if you're not gonna say that, you're gonna have a lot of troubles with the supporters. But now I
True.
think it's so widely used and everybody does that. Like you cannot believe it anymore. Like you said the same thing about Arsenal. You said the same thing about United. You said the same thing when you went at Dortmund. Alexis said the same thing when he went to Arsenal. The same thing when he went to Barcelona. And he's gonna say the same thing if he leaves United for a different club in in the future.
True.
But
Uh,
go ahead.
no, no. I was going to say, to repeat, in my opinion, a good swap for both clubs. So even if you don't like Sanchez, they did a great deal. I think he's better than Mkhitaryan, and hopefully Aubameyang will sign with the Arsenal, and they can keep Ozil.
Yeah, that was
And
supposed to be official by now. What happened? Because the last podcast we had, we said that they said that it was official that day. He was in London making his medical whatever. And it still
This is
hasn't
what
been officiated, so.
no. And by the way, talking about our podcast, it's the second, probably more than second signing that we predicted. Alexis to go to Manchester. Just we made a mistake with the teams because we thought. I mean, I thought it would be City, but it's still in Manchester. So
Oh yeah. Well, last podcast when we had United already show up in the bid, we were like I started inclining more to Manchester United because, like you said, I think that the reasoning behind this transfer was Mourinho's ambition, and it was probably like a ultimatum that he put to the club just to see if they support him at 100%. You know, it was more of a mind game with Guardiola than anything. Because, like I said, I like Martial better. I like Rashford better than, they're younger than Alexis. They don't have the same experience. They don't have the same number of trophies. But I think if Alexis would have been that good, he would have never left Barcelona. That's my
and
opinion.
by the way, he chose a very very tough number to play with.
Yeah, he chose number 7. Like I said, the last 2 number 7s we had failed miserably. And I hope he does better. But remember, we were talking in the last, I don't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before that, but we were saying that Arsenal has problems in midfield.
True.
You think bringing Mkhitaryan is going to solve some of those problems? You think he's one of those players that Arsenal really needed?
Yes, I do think so, because even now, I mean tonight, this time they are playing with Chelsea. They are leading 2-1.
Yeah, I think this is our third podcast that we record during a Chelsea Arsenal game.
Oh no, it's done. They won 2-1.
Oh, so it's done? Okay, so Arsenal just won without Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, but having Xhaka and Wilshere in the midfield, and now I think Mkhitaryan will be better than El Neni, a little bit more experience. So yes, they have a pretty good midfield now and good attack. They can fight for the first 6 teams in the Premier League. So
see, I think from this point of view, doing this swap was smarter than taking money because they got a deal. If Manchester United would have paid money for Alexis, it would have been somewhere around 30 million. So it would have not been a lot. And if they would have sold Mkhitaryan, I don't think they would have settled with 30 million. But when you say, give me Alexis, I'll give you Mkhitaryan, it sounds different, And I think Arsenal, it was a smart move accepting this because they got a player that's, in my opinion, is you cannot buy a player like Mkhitaryan for 30 million in this market right now.
In this market, definitely.
And he fills one of those positions that Arsenal has had problems with. And if they manage to bring Aubameyang too, then they can change the system so they don't need Alexis anymore. Because Alexis was, I don't think Arsenal ever played with a system that would fit Alexis best. Because Alexis said he likes to come in from the left and come into the center. But Arsenal would play with one forward and somebody behind them, They would never play with somebody coming in from, with wingers like that to have Alexis play over there. And if they bring out Aubameyang can be either behind or in front of Lacazette. Then they can have Ozil and Mkhitaryan, play central midfield, or it gives Arsene more options. And I think Aubameyang with Mkhitaryan are gonna be better than one Sanchez.
Agree. Totally agree with you.
Okay, next transfer. Just to say, I'm happy that this saga is over, the Sanchez, because this was...
I'm happy because I was getting bored, to be honest with you.
I thought Coutinho was becoming too much, but as soon as that ended, this one started.
Next big transfer in the past week, I think, and it's for me as well, is Theo Walcott to Everton.
Oh yeah, so Arsenal lose another attacking player in Theo Walcott, who left the London club after how many years?
I think it was 8.
I think it's more than that. I think it's over 10 years.
Over 10 years, probably. But coming back, I had a chance to see him at work on Saturday.
He played against
So
West Brom.
from the first minute, he played all 90 minutes. Sorry, from moving. He played 90 minutes from the first minute till the end. He played really, really well. He was on two classes on the top of the rest of the players. I think beside him and Sigurdsson, no one else played for Everton in that game. And I think they've been lucky. Everton been very lucky to get a draw.
But
because
Everton
in the last minute, yes.
Everton now have a couple of good attacking players that they just bought. People are expecting them to,
Yeah, but don't forget they have a coach which doesn't know to play attacking football.
We were saying Allardyce is doing a really good job when he started. He had that nice run.
He is doing indeed. I'm not saying he's not doing a great job, but if you watch all the games, he never attacked. He was playing counter-attack all the times. But
yep, and when you have players like Rooney in attack, and he's not the quickest anymore. He's not a counter-attack player anymore. He needs to pass the ball. He needs to get in spaces. He's not a counter-attack player anymore. And Theo Walcott, even though he's really quick, he's 29 now, 28.
Yes, 28.
He's not the fastest either. I don't know about this Turkish player. Is he a quick player?
He's not. You see, it's not the player that Everton needs him, because if they play this style, it's not gonna success to Everton. And why? Because he likes passing, tactic. He likes the Besiktas football style. Here, everyone was playing long balls. They never find him in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
And I was disappointed to see that the public whistled him when he left the ground, when he's been changed. Yes, because to be honest, it's the second game.
Oh, he's already at his second game? When did he play the first game?
He played the first game away, 60 minutes away with Tottenham, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they lost 4-0. What was the score? 4-0?
4-0. And they have good players, but they don't play. I mean, the defensive, it's absolutely crap. It's terrible. And was a very sad moment in the game. I don't know if you read the news and if you heard that.
McCarthy.
Yeah, that was. I saw that in live. Yeah. It's not a good moment.
For people who don't know, McCarthy went in on a tackle at Salomon Rondon, the striker from West Bromwich Albion, and he broke his shin bone.
He broke the legs. He broke the legs in two places.
Not just the shin bone?
No, it's the femur and the shin bone. I think it's
yeah. So they're connected. Yeah. So really horrible injuries. It's like one of those things that you don't even want to look, because all the hair on your body just gets up. It's I'm sorry for that for McCarthy. He's young too, right? He's like 24.
And he just come back. I think it's the third game after a big injury. And he saved the goal, but that was a big prize for.
The tackle was crazy, man. That tackle, when I saw him, he started sliding like he was 5 meters behind Rondon when he started sliding.
Yeah.
So it was a nice tackle. It was a really, really nice tackle, but that was an expensive fucking thing.
And it was Schneiderlin mistake, man. That guy was making at least 80% of his passes was wrong passes.
That's why United got.
He didn't defend. He didn't defend. He didn't attack. Everyone whistled him. He's one of the worst player I ever seen in the last period. To be honest, I was talking with people around me, and probably the weakest team I saw in the last period was Estoril. I don't think Schneiderlin can fit in that team because he's too weak. Seriously, he shouldn't play. He shouldn't play.
What I think is going on with Everton, I don't think we're going to see Allardyce from the next season. I'm almost 100% sure. I think they're going to have a big name as their coach next year.
We'll see.
Because they have good enough players. I mean, besides the teams from the top, what is it?
I mean,
top six. The next one, as you know, as the squad value and the players, is definitely Everton.
It is. I checked that. Is they are the seventh valuable team
Just,
in the Premier League.
just to name a few players, man. You have Sigurdsson, you have Rooney, now you have Walcott, you have Jagielka, you have you have Seamus Coleman,
you have Bolasie,
Bolasie, yeah, you have the Turkish dude, Topal, right?
No, it's it's not Topal. I had the word in my mind, and now we say Topal, and I can. It's
you have Pickford. You have a lot of great players, a lot of good players. You know, I'm gonna put even Schneiderlin on that list because he was great at Southampton, and he had moments when he was good at United. I just don't think Mourinho liked him. That's why he left.
It's Tosun, not
Tosun. Yeah. Okay. So Everton have a really good squad. I think in the summer they're gonna have a big name as their manager, and I think that's gonna solve a lot of the problems over there because they're gonna try and wing it with Allardyce this season, trying to save as much as possible. But things like this are dangerous, man, because there's gonna be players. Players become unhappy, and if players become unhappy, it's hard to make them happy again. Even though if you change the coach, they lose their will to play for that club, if shit's going on all the time. So I'm hoping for them because after we started since we started this podcast, I became a small Everton fan. Like I like them, and I try to watch whenever they play. And Rooney's over there, who's still my favorite player, and
he didn't.
I want him to do good.
Well, I wanted to do good all the team. I want all the best for the team because I support Everton. So, well, coming back to our transfer window because we had a short talk about Everton. Walcott, I think, is a very good sign for Everton, and it seems that Van Dijk is not so good like everyone said. Or what do you think about? Because Liverpool, they lost the last game, and everyone put the blame on Van Dijk because they said the goal was his mistake, and they are expecting more for a 70 million player.
Man, Carvalho, that's the name of the coach of Swansea. Is it Carvalho?
I think so, yes.
Swansea's coach said it best. Liverpool are like a F1 car, like a Formula 1 car. But if you put them in London traffic, they're still going to move with 15 miles an hour. That's what Liverpool is, Sometimes, like they did against City, they just play phenomenally. But then other times, when they just play crap. And I watched the game, and I don't think it was Van Dijk's fault. I mean, you can blame the whole team. They just didn't look like, I think they were still thinking about the Manchester City game, and they thought, because when you get a victory like that, you're the first team who beats Manchester City, right? You get mentally into a place when you think like, oh, okay, now we're gonna be invincible, And I don't know how serious they treated the game against Swansea, and you cannot.
Sorry to interrupt.
You cannot put the blame on one player, He's better than Lovren. He's better than Matip. And you can see him even when he has the ball at his feet. He tries passes. He had a few nice passes. But like we said, when he got transferred over there, he's not the type of defender that's not gonna make mistakes. He's one of those defenders that's gonna make mistakes at times because he likes to play the ball at his foot. He likes to go out with the ball, try passes for the midfielders, attackers. So that's one of the risks they took, And if it wasn't for him, they would have not beat Everton in the
cup.
In the cup, and of course they're gonna blame him. He costed 75 million. When you buy a defender, the most expensive defender in the world, and you pay 75 million dollars for him, or was it pounds?
I think it was 72 million pounds. Yes.
When you pay that much for him, everybody's gonna expect him to be like Lionel Messi. But people forget he's a central defender, and he's overpriced. He's not worth that much. Southampton asked for that much. Liverpool was willing to pay. Nobody said he's valued 75 million. Like I bet you, no other team would have paid that much money for him.
True. But probably you heard the best joke in the last week about Jurgen Klopp.
No.
That Jurgen Klopp is the Robin Hood of the Premier League.
Oh, he robs the rich to give to the poor.
He's taking the points from the rich people, which is Manchester City, and give them to the poor, to Swansea.
Swansea, last place. Yeah, he gives them. He takes them from teams that don't really need the points anymore because Manchester City is way ahead of everybody else, while Swansea are in very big need of points. So yeah. I can see why the comparison works. That's a good one.
So in all the newspaper was Robin Hood of the Premier League.
Yeah, it wasn't just Van Dijk, man. Mane wasn't too good. Firmino wasn't too good. Oxlade-Chamberlain wasn't too good. Lallana wasn't too good. Nobody played that good, It wasn't just one player who was to blame. It was the whole team. It was one of those losses that you cannot blame a single player because, come on, you're Liverpool. You just beat Manchester City. You had 4-1 at some point, and you couldn't score against Swansea. That's not just Van Dijk's fault. Because he's there to defend, not to score. They should have scored 3 or 4, and then that would have not happened. Even if Van Dijk would have made the mistake, if you're Liverpool and you say we lost the game because of Van Dijk, then what? Your expectation was to get a draw out of this game against the last place in the Premier League.
No one from the club put the blame on him. It was
supporters. But it's normal. People are gonna, when you pay that much money for a player, they're gonna shit on him. It was the same at Manchester United when they brought Di Maria. It was Pogba, not so much because he's a player that was raised at Manchester United. So supporters are fond of him from before, and he was just coming back. But if they would have bought him for that much money and he would have not played for Manchester before, trust me, man, there would have been a lot of times when they would have shat on Pogba's head and blame him for the team not winning. And so I think that's just what supporters are. I wouldn't take it too serious, and I think Van Dijk is a good player. I think he's gonna be a very good player at Liverpool, and plus it was just his third game.
And I think the supporters, they should move on, and we should move on as well to the
next transfer. Yeah,
next transfer. I don't know if you heard about Cedric Bakambu. Probably didn't heard too much about him. It is a really good player. He was playing for Villarreal, but he chose to take the way to Asia.
Go to China. Yeah, I say let's not talk too much about this because I think players that go to China are like, they disappear, Nobody hears about them anymore. I don't think, except people from China, I don't think anybody else watches that league. And I don't know how many Chinese people watch it,
I don't know.
It's too bad. It's too bad that he left for China because he is a good player. He would have had more chances to be a great player if he would have chose any other team from Europe, because there were strong teams in Europe who wanted to buy him. But
he's 26. He have lots of time to prove that he's good, and then after that go to China.
Yeah, but the money is too good, man. The money is too good. If I would have been 26 and I would have been a great player and I would have been African, I would have probably chose, because how many very well paid African players are there in world football? Not so many,
They start to be now.
Well, we had times when we had Eto'o, we had Drogba, we had Essien, but now Aubameyang wants to leave Dortmund because of he's not getting paid that well, And
you have Salah.
I don't know how much he earns.
A lot. I don't know exactly, but I know it's Premier League. You can't get less than 70,000 a week. So
yeah. But I don't know, man. I wish him good luck, and I hope he does the same thing as other players did. Get your money 1 year and then come back to Europe, and prove yourself, because he's good, man. He's a good player, and to leave from a top team in Spain to go to China when you're 26.
Well, I think in the end, Villarreal were happy to get the 36 million pounds for him. So why not?
We're at the 30-minute mark, so I think let's put some of the other transfers that happened real quick. Leon Goretzka from Schalke to Bayern München. Player's gonna move to München in the summer for a free transfer. Bayern München did it again. There's no valuable player in the Bundesliga that does not end up at Bayern München, with the exception of Marco Reus. He's the only one who. Marco Reus and Aubameyang for now, but Aubameyang is still, you're not sure. But
well, speaking about Borussia, they just signed Manuel Akanji from Basel.
Is that I don't know who that
is.
It's
a central back. It's a 22 years old centre back, valued at 4.5 million. They paid 20 million for him.
Well, that's what you pay 5 times more than the player is valued. That's how the market is now. But unless you're Manchester United and you buy from Arsenal, because Arsenal gives us cheap. But Dortmund need defenders, man, because they've had a horrible season. Like I've bet on them so many times this season, and very disappointed each and every single time. They lose games when you don't expect them to, against teams you don't expect them to. So I think investing some money in defenders, it's a good thing. But what do you think about this Goretzka to Bayern for nothing?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, because good big teams, they have good management, and this is what they're looking for. So I saw Juventus, they keep an eye on Goretzka, but it seems to be too late now. They keep an eye.
Juventus and Bayern have a very good relationship. He might end up going on loan to Juventus, just like Koeman came from Juve to Bayern.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I want him on loan. I don't want Juve to train players for Bayern Munich.
Well, you see, Koeman is on loan from Juventus, but I don't think he considers himself a Juventus player, because he's been there for 3 years now.
But he's not on loan anymore. They bought him in the beginning of the season. Yes, okay. It's a Munich player.
I thought he's still. But I don't know, man. I don't know how you can if you have a player that's that good, I don't know how you can let him go for free. I know the Schalke owner has incredible amounts of money. He's the owner of Schalke. He's the owner of the biggest butcher place in Europe. So I think he's I know he's very, very rich, but still, man, you could have got some nice money for Goretzka. He's a really good player.
Well,
and what surprises me even more, that he's still playing, Like I saw the last game, he played for 60 minutes, 70 minutes, something like that. So they don't put him on the bench or,
But be honest, who do you want to play with Schalke? They don't have a big squad with all great players, valuable players. So Goretzka is one of the best players they have. So
they're trying to get the best of him as they can.
Of course. Probably that was the agreement between. I'm pretty sure it was a discussion between the player and the owner.
Well, if they didn't get any money for him, I don't know what discussions you can have. Like Bayern München cannot come say, okay, we're gonna take this player for free, but we want you to play him until the next season.
No, probably the owner could tell him, look, I know you want to go there. I'll let you go there for free, but give us 100%, because in the end, he's the owner and he still has 6 months of the contract. He can sell him to any teams who got the money.
And I think it was a national team decision too. Probably Joachim Löw called and said, we're gonna need him, so make sure you play him. Do it for Germany, if not for Schalke. Okay, moving on. Another player. It just became, I think, 100% official today. Dzeko from Roma to Chelsea.
He was playing tonight. He scored.
Yep.
In the last minute of the game.
I saw it a couple of hours ago. Edin Dzeko has officially signed with Chelsea.
I don't know. Sometimes I can't understand Conte. Why Chelsea will need a player like Dzeko? Why Chelsea will need a player like Andy Carroll?
Well, Chelsea, everybody was making fun that Chelsea was looking to buy a big, tall forward. They were looking at, I heard even Peter Crouch Andy,
Yeah, yeah.
Peter Crouch, Andy Carroll, Jaco. Who else was on there? There was some other player, like one of these tall forwards. Maybe he wants to. I don't know, man. Maybe he wants to cross the balls in the penalty box and just have them headed in the
No,
goal.
I think Conte have a weakness for this type of players because if you look when he was training Juventus, he brought Mandzukic
Yep,
there,
Mario Mandzukic. And
which is
when he came from Bayern, he came from Atletico, but at Bayern and Atletico he was playing like that. Now he doesn't play that at Juventus, but
no.
that's what he used to play.
Yeah, but I mean, doesn't play because Allegri changed the system. But in a contest system, Mandzukic was in the front, forward, push forward, and it's the same profile like the
Con-
like
Con-
Dzeko.
Conte is a very classic coach by the way by his tactics. You know, he reminds me of how teams played back in the early 2000s when they had, you know, that 4-4-2, or even if you had a 4-5-1, you had that big tall striker in front of goal and everybody would cross balls, you know, and
Exactly.
you had Drogba, you had you know, all these great forwards that would just sit in front, and then when Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo showed up, then the classic striker just disappeared. You couldn't find any more classic strikers, you know.
Well, there still are some classic.
Well,
I mean, Bayern Munich. If you look
slowly,
at Bayern Munich, Lewandowski is a classic striker.
yeah, slowly they're starting to come back now. But there was a period when nobody would play with classic strikers. You know, if you would see teams, they would have, I don't know, 1, 2 strikers in the whole. When before they would have like 3 or 4, because they would always play with, you know, 2 strikers, or, you know. But do you think it's a good buy for Chelsea? You think it's gonna help them, because they've had problems scoring goals lately. So in a way, I can understand the decision to try to change something, you know. And Dzeko, even though he hasn't really played good when he played in the Premier League for City, he wasn't too bad either, you know. But he was just average. He was great in the Bundesliga, and he started playing really good for Roma. So you think he's gonna be one of those Mohamed Salah cases?
No, no, definitely not. We will see. I mean, depends on the tactic, depends on the style of the game because Dzeko likes a fast game and all the balls to come to him. Uh, I, I don't know. I I don't. If you ask me, I don't think Chelsea need him, but it's just my opinion.
Well,
So
we'll
it,
uh, we,
we'll
we'll
see
we'll see how that
if
plays out
we'll go.
for them. Any
Do you
other?
have any?
I don't
I was
I
going
don't
to ask.
I don't remember any other transfers, to be honest. I think my head's full. I think we spoke about most of them. I heard the rumor about one of the Nice midfielders. I forgot his name. He's
Sorry,
yeah, that
sorry. Everyone was it.
Manchester City and United are interested in buying him, and he might leave by the end of next week to one of these 2 clubs. I don't know the player. I haven't followed Nice closely. I know Balotelli over there, but
Talking about rumors, I heard the worst rumor I ever heard in this transfer window
Real Madrid buys
that
Balotelli.
you you very interested in the Balotelli.
Well, that's the only. Well, he played for Inter. He played for AC Milan. Why wouldn't he play for Juventus too? He's one of those
Because
Bobo Vieri cases. Remember Vieri? He played for all the big Italian clubs.
we don't need him. We don't need him. And the dressing room is fine without him. It's already
Yeah, he's one
there
of
are
those.
already
He's
some
one of those
troubles there. So
problem players. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't think we have any transfer to talk about in this
No,
podcast.
just one player that I just remember now that left, and it's one of those things that make you feel nostalgic. Mascherano just left Barcelona after so many years of successes. He managed to score 5 goals while at Barcelona. 4 were own goals. So that's a nice, funny stat for you. So he only scored 1 goal, 4, and he scored 4 against Barca, so 4 own goals. But still, Mascherano is a Barcelona legend, a Liverpool legend for people who still remember him playing at Liverpool. Great player. Unfortunately, you know, we all get old. and we have to move on to other things. Ronaldinho also retired officially from football. That's another sad thing for us football fans, but
A legend.
life moves on. A true legend, man. Ronaldinho was probably the last player that I didn't care who he played for. I just wanted to see him, Like Messi, I don't like him, man. Fuck that. I don't like him, so I cannot support Barcelona when he's there. When Ronaldinho was at Barcelona, I was a supporter of Barcelona, man. He played for PSG. I love to watch PSG. He played for Brazil. I love to watch Brazil. They played against England in the 2002 World Cup. I was a Brazil fan. After that, right now, for people who don't know, I'm a big England fan. But that's how strong Ronaldinho was for me. I really loved that player, man. He was one of my idols.
Okay.
Where we going next?
What minute we are now on the podcast?
41 minutes in.
Well, in this case, I think we should talk a little bit about the important games of the week, then move on to the selected games of the weekend.
Okay, doc. So, what games do you have?
If you agree with me.
Of course. Why wouldn't
so, we don't have too many. I mean, there are lots of games this weekend, the upcoming weekend, obviously. I found, obviously, 4 tough games, which will be interesting games. 2 from France and 1 from Italy, 1 from Spain. In France, we have Bordeaux against Olympique Lyon. We all know Bordeaux is not playing a great football now. But every time when they play against the rivals, the game is different. So it will be a tough game for both teams.
Like they did against Nantes, and they won.
Yes, and they won.
That was a surprise.
So Bordeaux-Lyon, guys, is a very nice game to watch. Keep an eye on. Then if you watch this one, if you want to watch a different game in France, Olympique Marseille against Monaco is a very good game. That's
going to be an awesome game, yep.
It's a very, very good.
Just like Lyon PSG was this past weekend, I think Marseille Monaco is going to be an awesome game.
Then we have in Italy, we have AC Milan against Lazio. A very good game as well because Lazio is playing great. They just won tonight. They beat Udine with 3-0. And Milan, they are
Milan, they won last game 2-1 away. I forgot. Against Cagliari, I think.
Cagliari, yes. But it was an easy game. I mean, none of the games are easy for Milan. But on San Siro with Lazio, they need a good result.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an awesome game. Okay.
And the last game is Valencia against Real Madrid.
I thought you were going to skip that game just because you're mad at Valencia.
No. I can't do that. Even if I'm mad on Valencia, I have to let the people know which games they'll be interesting to watch. And I think it will be an interesting game because both teams, they're not in a very good shape now, in a good form, sorry. But they play on Mestalla. And Real Madrid, they just lost in the cup tonight against Leganes. Leganes kicked them out.
Oh, so the game is over? They lost 1-0?
No, they lost 2-1.
Oh, 2-1 and ended 2-1. God damn it.
Yeah,
Real Madrid is in such a bad time now. I think they're going to kick Zidane out soon.
I think probably the dressing room, they don't want him anymore. And I'm just saying, this is the way to get him out, losing all the games. So those are the 4 picks to watch and keep an eye on. If you have any other games to add, I'll be more than happy to listen to Alex.
I try to. I am very sad that there's no Premier League this weekend. I try to.
It is FA Cup this weekend.
Yeah, there's FA Cup, but not Premier League. I don't care about FA Cup that much. But yeah, those are the games that I would be interested in. I wanted to ask you about something, but we'll leave it for the next podcast. I wanted to ask you about this European Nations League. I wanted to ask you what do you think of it, and maybe we can explain it to people, because when I first saw today were the draws, then I was like, what the hell is this? I've never heard about it. And then I looked into it, and I kind of understood what's going on, but I think we should leave this for the next podcast. We are already
well, in a few words, guys, in these days it's everything about marketing, everything about money. And UEFA, they have a very good, very smart people there. So they think, what about if we change the friendly games period and make some competition games for the European teams?
Like an official
And
one. Yep.
an official one, they made 4 groups, A, B, C, D. All the teams from the B, C, and D. So the first team who won the group, they will go in the upper league, and the last one they will go. They'll relegate in the
there's 4 leagues with how many groups in each?
4 groups in each
Four
with
groups, 3 or 4
three
teams
or
in each
four
group.
teams. Yes, the semifinal is between so will be first in the group A, which are the best teams. The first 4 teams they will play against them. Semifinals, then will be the final.
Yep, and
The two final.
whoever wins their leagues, the first team I think qualifies automatically to the Euros. Is that right?
I don't know about this.
The first 4 teams, I think, but we'll look more into it, and we're gonna talk about it next week
Yeah,
because
but
it looks interesting. First of all, because we're giving up on those unnecessary, boring friendlies. Those were the worst thing to happen to international soccer since I can remember. I used to remember days when it was all about international. You know, when your national team played, you would be so excited. It would be, you would have an interest for it. But now it seems like people lost their interest completely to watch national teams, and especially because most games are against are those friendlies where they bring all sorts of players that are not supposed to be there. There's no interest from the players because there's no gain, no money, no. Here you have a prize. From what I understood, if you get to one of those 4 spots, you can get to the Euros, which is a bit of a shortcut, because then even if you don't qualify from from the qualifications, if you ended up as one of the first 4, you can.
But to get one of those 4 spots, you have to be in the A section. So first of all, for the teams, they need more to go in the A. They need to promote from C to B, from B to A.
Mm-hmm. You see, well, I say
we'll talk about.
I'll say let's look into it, and because I don't think either of us know exactly what it is.
Just saying, in the first spot, there are teams like England, Spain, France, Germany. Teams that don't really they don't really need a free spot in the European Championship.
With England, you never know. Just saying. Okay, let's go to our betting tips. You want to start? Just like we always do. You go first, and then I go second.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be the first one.
Well, it's people are more attentive in the beginning, so they're gonna. You have. I know you spend more time analyzing your tips than I do, so it's fair to do that for them.
Talking about that, last week I was crap, guys. I'm really, really sorry about the tips I gave you last week. I lost as well.
I was pretty good last week.
You've been good, yes, but I didn't expect Nantes to lose with Bordeaux, and I didn't expect Sporting to draw with Setúbal. So, kind of surprises. I don't take the blame.
Those cannot be avoided, man. That's just how it is in football. You can never know. We say it all the time.
True. That's why this podcast I have 8 games for you guys, which you can choose from. Yeah, so you choose from these 8 games, plus whatever Alex gives to you. You'll have 10, 12 games. Put them on the paper, see which one you think they're better, and go on. Okay, so my games, they are Atletico Bilbao A bar, Atletico Bilbao not to lose, so Atletico or draw. Saint-Etienne, Caen, Saint-Etienne not to lose, so good game. Köln, Augsburg, Köln not to lose, Köln or draw. Chievo, Juventus to win. Napoli, Bologna, Napoli to win. Atletico Madrid, Las Palmas, Atletico Madrid to win. Sevilla, Getafe. Sevilla is back on the good form.
They just won against Atletico in the cup, 3-1.
Yeah. Sevilla to win. And the last one is from the Turkish league. It's a weird one, but not for you guys who follow the Turkish league. It's Göztepe. Sorry, Turkish guys, if I didn't pronounce well in the right way. Göztepe with Kayserispor, draw or Kayserispor. Those are my.
I also have 8.
Oh.
Okay, so first off, I have Marseille Monaco over 2.5. I have Bayern against Hoffenheim, Bayern to win. Dortmund against Freiburg over 1.5. Leipzig against Hamburg over 2.5. Werder Bremen against Hertha Berlin over 2.5. Bayer Leverkusen against Mainz, Leverkusen to win. Napoli Bologna 1 and Atletico Bilbao Eibar 1. So I have a lot of Bundesliga, 5 games from the Bundesliga, 1 from France, 1 from Italy, and 1 from Spain.
And probably you notice, guys, our different style of betting. I'm going more on the results. Alex is going more on goals.
Yeah, I like the goals. I don't know, for some reason they attract. Even though if I analyze what I've bet lately and what I've won from my bets, the 1x2 was the one that brought me. I won on those. Goals have been kind of disappointing because there's teams who in my head I always think of them like scoring a lot of goals, and I forget that sometimes they go through a shitty period, like Borussia Dortmund. You know, I would always think about Borussia Dortmund. Oh man, they're gonna score over 2.5. It doesn't matter. And you look at the game, and it's 1-0, or you know, there's so many examples like that. So I don't know. I have faith in my selections. Just don't play all of them on one ticket. Or if you do, don't put a lot of money on it. Just put $1 or whatever. Just hope that I'm pretty sure the odd is okay. Is okay because just Atletico Bilbao against Eibar playing 1. I think that's a pretty good odd. And then you have a few over 2.5s, which are also good. So all I can say to you is good luck.
Good luck from me as well, and I want to say thank you guys for sending us messages. Thank you for sending us suggestions about what we have to talk. I really appreciate that, and I think Alex as well.
Definitely.
Please continue to send us your feedback, to send us your suggestions, and we promise we will respond to you.
I'm gonna have my last sip of beer, so it lasted me the whole podcast.
Yeah. So
I want to thank you very much, guys, for watching or listening to this episode. It was a pleasure, like always. I hope you got all the info that you needed. There's people who give me feedback that they like what we do, so we want to thank them, and we want to thank you who don't give us feedback yet but are listening to this podcast. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. Follow us on SoundCloud. You know, just type in the Soccer Bowl. Spotify, we're there as well. iTunes, Google Play Store. Just make sure you pick any of these. You can either
Facebook,
Instagram. Yep. So we're everywhere, just for you. And we're trying to be as active. You can see we have the podcast coming out every week. We're being on schedule. And
we have lots of news during the week as well.
Oh, definitely.
About the transfer.
Definitely. And we try to discuss in detail. Some we cannot do because of time restraints. We cannot do all of them, but you know, we try to debate and discuss as much as possible in the time limit that we have. Once again, I would like to thank you guys for listening or watching. I want to say goodbye to you all, and I'll see you next week from Wisconsin. Andy, any last words for our faithful listeners or first-time listeners or casual listeners, whatever?
As well, same thing from me, guys. Thank you so much for listening or watching us, and I really appreciate everything if you like or you subscribe or you share.
Oh, and share. Tell them about the share.
Yeah, just if you appreciate what we're doing, just press the share button. That's all we need. We don't ask for anything else than that. For your share, it's like your appreciation for us. Thank you so much. All the best. Andy from Liverpool will keep you updated with all the news from Premier League, UK, and see you next week, guys.
We love you.